We're busy taking care of everything else, everybody else, from our pets, you know what I mean, to our clients.
Mm-hmm.
So we give. But the issue is when we don't take time to really focus in and be in tune with what our body is telling us, by the time we notice that something's really wrong, that the damage is done. It's not impossible to recover, but it takes longer and it takes commitment to do. So I love teaching women how to be proactive with these 3 steps.
And welcome back to Beyond Common Business Secrets. We have such a special guest for you today. Dena Holmes is a former automotive executive turned entrepreneur. I love that. So amazing. Her passion is educating women on how they are sabotaging their own wealth by ignoring critical factors of their health. Dena brings over 14 years of experience in the health and wellness industry and helps women thrive physically and financially. Dena, I'm so excited to have you here. Your energy is absolutely contagious, and it's just a blessing to have you as a guest. So thanks for being here.
Tracey, I have to thank you. I've been pumped about this for weeks. And I think it's because I have turned into a raving fan of your show. So it really makes this experience just so much more special when I'm being interviewed on a podcast that I listen to, that I love, and that I support.
Well, I appreciate that. And it's so funny because we really kind of went with this whole vibe of wanting to put together a really cool guest lineup for this. This is our 3rd season now. And it was like, I only want to interview people that vibe, right? Like that vibe with the show. You know what I'm saying? Because like, if you're a fan, then you can like see where you could add value, so this is so perfect. I'm so grateful that you're here. And we have so many amazing things to learn from your genius that I just cannot wait to unpack. So, you have this amazing way of just even how you said this. If we were to talk about your sort of 3 steps to avoid burnout or recover from it, I think that's such a hot spot right now. There's so much of the research, like keynotes I've been delivering. I always do research on industry. And even though, they hire me for motivation, inspiration on business, I still like to get to know the industry. And I'm telling you, all of my research has been overwhelming to how many people are right now in this moment suffering from burnout and don't know it. So if you could walk us through like your 3 steps on how to avoid that or recover from it, I would just really think our audience would love it.
Absolutely. It would be a privilege. And, that's really a lot of the clients that I work with. When we think about what busy working women are going through, we are trying to juggle a lot of different things. And that's been the case for decades. But this last few years, we've had all of that in addition to a pandemic, in addition to a bit of a challenged economy at times, right? Depending where you live, it can be a little bit worse than other areas. Mm-hmm. And also then, I come from Southwest Florida. We were talking before the show, I live in Fort Myers. We just experienced one of the absolute worst hurricanes that we've ever had. And so whether it's a literal hurricane or a hurricane-like storm in someone's life, we've got a lot going on. And what happens is the one person that we're typically not paying the most attention to when it comes to our physical and our mental health is ourselves. We're busy taking care of everything else, everybody else, from our pets,
right?
I got my here. Yeah, you know what I mean, to our clients. Mm-hmm. So we give. But the issue is that when we don't take time to really focus in and be in tune with what our body is telling us, by the time we notice that something's really wrong, that the damage is done. It's not impossible to recover, but it takes longer and it takes commitment to do. So I love teaching women how to be proactive with these 3 steps to avoid what happened to me, because I was that busy executive who from the outside looked like I had everything. I had the cars, the house, all the material possessions, the kids, the good looking husband. And yet my body broke. I literally broke my immune system. And what I started to realize is that not only did I break my health, but even my relationships were struggling between my spouse, between my children. And that is exactly how I got into the line of work that I did today. How can I pay it forward by myself becoming a student of functional health? How can I pay it forward to other women to teach them a better way? So I'll get right into those 3 steps, but I just want to shout out to what you're saying because it is such an issue right now.
And you having been through it, figured out, how to recover and being that beacon of light, that warning, it's okay to take care of yourself. Like I'm always preaching about self-love. So please share with us.
Okay. So the 3 steps that I really discuss in detail about avoiding or recovering from burnout. It starts with work. Believe it or not, I'm going to tell you something that probably sounds simple, but it is working with a healthcare professional and at a minimum, having annual blood work done. So why do I talk about that? It goes back to my experience. Tracey, I was misdiagnosed for 9 months. I was dealing with extreme anxiety, the worst panic attacks I had ever had in my life, to the point where I could barely drive with my kids in the car. Driving was a real trigger for me. My hair was falling out. I was weak. And I would go to the doctor and he's like, Dena, I've known you for years. You have dealt with anxiety since your early 20s. You're a type A personality. We just need to get you back on that medication. And so that's what I did. I went back on some medications for, and so it's like an antidepressant and also treats generalized anxiety disorder. And I get worse and worse and worse. So I go back to the doctor and he doubles my medication, the strength.
The dose.
And I'm getting worse and worse and worse. And so finally, blood work was taken. And I'll just tell you, I was diagnosed with 2 autoimmune diseases that weren't life-threatening, but were very life-changing. Yeah. And so I just always think back to myself, if only I had been my own patient advocate and recognized that I have a voice and I could have said, you know what, doc, I'm pretty desperate. I'll try any pills at this point, but could we just run some blood work too to rule out a couple things? Just to double check.
Because you knew something, yourself well enough to know something's off, but it's developing that intuitive trust, right? The trust to give yourself permission to speak.
Yes. Because Tracey, here's the thing. At that time in my life, everything was about the job and my business. And I didn't have time to what I thought question a doctor. Like, I'm no MD. I didn't go to school. He should know. He should know what to be doing for me.
Okay.
Exactly. So it was shifting the mindset that it's okay for me to ask, hey, what about the important, I think blood work tells us a story too. So
you're saying annual blood work. That I wrote that down because that has not been what I've heard before. And I love that. So it's do it annually. I like that a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And here's the other thing. And for those of the listeners that are driving or walking their dog, listening to this, just know that at the end, I have a gift for you, a free guide that's going to walk you through these steps. So you don't have to feel like you got to drive and try to, write this down.
I'm gonna enjoy that too. So I'm just like a natural note taker. I'm a giant nerd over here. So
yes, same. So along with getting your blood checked every year, but it's not just what that doctor is going to say. Okay, A standard women's annual includes a complete blood count, right? Your CBC or your comprehensive metabolic panel. No, this guide is going to tell you what to ask for. Say, hey, doc, I want you to check my thyroid panel. I want you to check my vitamin D levels. And here's the coolest part about the gift that I have. I have permission, because I'm not a doctor. I am a women's health advocate fighting for women's health and spreading awareness. That's what I do. That's my whole brand.
Love it.
And I have permission from the functional health doctors that I have worked with to use their data to link their blogs that say, hey guys, more than that, there's a sweet spot for your vitamin D. There is a sweet spot for your thyroid levels. Because guess what? So many women who are feeling depressed, who are feeling in this funk, have no idea that their vitamin D, just by trying to optimize those vitamin D levels a bit, can make a world of difference on their mental health, on the brain fog that they're experiencing. And
the weight gain is huge. Like that is something I've discovered, because I'm like, all of a sudden I was in, that's so interesting that you're saying this. And I haven't really shared this publicly, but I'm an open book. I was struggling with my periods. They were crazy all over the place. And I'm like, I'm not usually this irrational. Like, what is happening? Right? Like I used to be in my early 20s till I learned how to meditate and become calm. I did a lot of work to get there. And all of a sudden I was finding this, and I was gaining weight, though I was eating better than ever, exercising better. My life was my dream life. I literally had created everything I wanted, but I'm like, what is happening with weight? Well, with functional health method, I figured out that though I was in the normal range, it was vitamin D and I think thyroid or something was like, I'm in the normal range, but that wasn't right for me. Like it was still like, so I was kind of like processing very low, and doctors just wrote it off like, you're good, you're fine. But I'm like, I'm not fine.
That's right, Tracey. That's, I'd say, the biggest complaint of the clients that I work with is that they look at a brownie and gain weight. Yet their doctor has told them, I've run your blood work and everything's normal. Well, guess what? That thyroid level your doctor checked the first time, that range is so broad. I'm going to tell you, this is exactly what happened to me. So once I started to work in getting optimal levels, what a difference. Because I would see at times then where that thyroid level would start to get too high, where I'm going kind of hypo. It's technically normal, but it wasn't normal for me. I was exhausted. I was gaining a ton of weight. My hair was falling out. So functional health practitioners are going to say, nah, I don't care if, Quest or LabCorp on that range says it's normal. That data is taken from millions of people. This is not normal for you. And then by tweaking that, boom, I started to feel amazing.
See, that's so beautiful.
Yeah. And the average woman, she doesn't know that.
Yeah. Oh.
So that's step one.
Okay.
Really avoiding and recovering from burnout is knowing what blood work to get checked on an annual basis and what are the optimal levels that you're trying to achieve. Okay. Step two is developing a killer morning routine. And I'm not saying you have to be part of the 5 a.m. club. We could all have different schedules, and whether we're morning people or not, but there are 3 different categories that if you can take even a brief amount of time to work on your mindset, your movement, and your growth. And I'm talking growth may be your spirituality. It may be personal development, something you're trying to work on, but taking time to give yourself some fuel in those categories. It is free. It is life-changing. That is the one thing that when I incorporated that several years ago, everything in my life got better. My relationships, my business. I'm sure you have a morning routine.
Absolutely. I'm like getting all the God bombs going crazy over here because you're like my soul sister. So the thing is that I avoided that for years though. So this is why I'm like, if I can do it, anyone can do it, because I'm like, nah, Yeah, I already wake up so early. I'm not a morning person. I literally had 3 alarms. All like I just was always a snoozer until someone said to me, "You are never going to like it, Tracey. It is always going to bleep, bleep, F suck. Just do it anyway." And I needed to hear it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting that you would like it. Okay. And I never did. I'm not even kidding. I would go through these cycles of like, I'm going to wake up early. I'm going to do 5 a.m. And I would literally break the commitment to myself all the time. And it was horrendous. Okay. Until it was said to me that way, you're never going to like it. You just have to do it. When I accepted that and started doing it, it was like every day making a commitment to yourself and keeping it is what led to the trusting yourself, trusting your intuition. It made me better in every area, just like you're saying. Like it made, just having that time to think and literally getting out of bed at a time that you committed to yourself is a game changer because you build trust, respect. Your word means something to you. Not like I was really great at keeping appointments with everyone else, but I treated myself like leftover trash. And when I shifted that, everything has been better. There is not one area that has not had light come to it. So I'm so with you there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are soul sisters. I felt the same way. I literally had to move my cell phone out into the living room to charge at night and have my alarm out here. That forced me to get out of bed.
That is okay. So, because I have this super long hallway where like my bedroom is like this long hallway with it's far. So I have to walk to get it. And it's like, you just keep walking to the bathroom to brush your teeth, you grab your stuff and you go. I don't give myself the opportunity to think about it. So it's really funny because when I do women's retreats or stuff like that, people are like, "Oh, well, it's a big room. Do you want to share?" I'm like, "No, I need to be alone because I will disrupt everyone." Like my alarm, like but it's also good for your mental health too, to not have your phone near you at night. Or first thing in the morning, so that still to not have those waves by you, but that's a game changer for me. So, I cannot agree with you more. And I never believed it. And now here I sit, I think it's been 8 years that everything is better in my life.
Yeah, totally agree. I literally just posted a reel today about how horrendous it is for your health if you wake up and the first thing you do is check your cell phone. Yeah. And it's just these small shifts that women can make. And it's going to be okay. There is nothing waiting on the other side of that can't wait a few more minutes before you pour into yourself. And now it's amazing. I was never a morning person, but now I consider myself one. I'm like,
I was like, I'm a night owl. I'm a snoozer. Yeah. I need that. Oh, and then I did some further research about this. And I was just talking to my husband about this the other day. So this is hilarious. So I did more research about this maybe a year ago, and it actually causes trauma when you hit snooze and do not allow yourself to go back into the deep cycle. Like not every one of your sleep cycles is the same, but they range between like 13 and 48 minutes. So hitting snooze at 7 or 12 minutes, you're automatically never getting to experience a cycle. So all you're doing is triggering your brain to have trauma. So you're starting your day off with cortisol pumping through your body. You're starting your day in a trauma you're basically guns blazing, ready to, and that's just not a good state to start your day. And I'm like, oh, that's why it worked. That's why it worked. So I don't know if I would have read that 8 years ago, if that would have, but reading it now, I'm like, oh, that's what has changed the game for me.
Absolutely. And that's what a lot of my clients are struggling with. They are dealing with high cortisol levels all day long. Yeah, cortisol is good to be elevated for a brief amount of time when you first wake up to help get you moving. But when it's cranked all day, guess what? That's when you burn out those adrenals. And that is when you're going to really have difficulty with exhaustion, with losing weight. So we could literally talk about morning routines for one whole episode, but it is critical, and it's one of the easiest things to implement. And the last thing that I talk about when it comes to avoiding or recovering from burnout is critical supplementation. Let's face it, busy professionals, working women, we got a lot going on. We try to eat nutritious as much as we can. But there's going to be those times where what we eat or what we drink just is not ideal. We are extremely busy, right? And the other situation is that sadly, a lot of our food is nutritionally bankrupt. It is not the same nutritional components that it had 50 years ago. There's so much science and data to back that up. The quality of the air is different, the soil, even when we are eating organic. So supplementation is critical. You don't have to go overboard. You don't have to be one of those people where, you've got mounds and mounds of pills or tinctures that you're drinking. It can be very simple. And that's what I help people work with. How can we narrow down what are the most important supplements for you personally? And what I really work on with women is how to combat the effects that stress is having on us physically and on us mentally, because we cannot control, as we all know, what goes on around us. We can control our response. However, some of us, and I'm one of them, my wiring, just my DNA, makes it a little bit more challenged to get that right. I will literally have a smile on my face and just push through, but inside, my brain is having my body just kind of freak out. And it causes a lot of damage to pretty critical organs within my body. So we work on that. We work on the immune system. The immune system is so much more important than just not getting sick. That's one element of the immune system, but it's tied to anti-aging. It's tied to your most powerful antioxidant. I teach a lot about that. And I talk a lot about anti-aging because, Tracey, my philosophy is getting older is not the problem. I'm in my mid to late 40s now. How old am I? I have to think. And it's the best time of my life. I feel amazing. And yet, so
and you look
older,
amazing. So there you go.
Thank you.
You really do.
I appreciate that. It's not getting older that's the problem, but it's looking and feeling old. That's what we want to avoid.
Right. We want to feel like full of vitality. We want to have energy.
Yeah. And just a quick scenario of a client of mine. She's a successful business professional in Michigan. She's a real estate agent, great at what she does. And she was doing the things. She had a functional health practitioner. She had a bit of a morning routine, but she was like, dang, I still am just dealing with exhaustion and brain fog and all these different things. And so why I chose a women's health advocate and not a health coach is because a health coach, that's kind of a long partnership, right? That's maybe a course you have to buy or working together for an extended period of time. We literally jumped on a call together. I just found out some of the things that she was taking, what were some of her symptoms still, made a few tweaks, and 2 months later, I get a text message that literally moved me to tears. She said, girlfriend, I'm never going back. I feel like myself for the first time in years. Thank you a million times over for giving me my life back. I still get kind of choked up when I think about it because goosies again.
All the God bumps again for you. I love it. They're coming back.
So those are those three core components, getting that blood work checked annually, knowing what to get checked, and working hard to achieve optimal levels, having a killer morning routine that doesn't require you to get up at 5 a.m. if you don't want to. And the third is understanding what is critical supplementation and how to simplify that and use it, right? Because that's the other problem. Some people buy something and then they're like, but I never use it. So those are the three things I'd say.
So I love all of that. So I have two additional questions for you. How can people get in touch with you so that they can work with you on this?
So
my first question.
the gift that I have for all of your listeners, who I adore because I'm one of them. So we're like a little family. We're like a Tracey family. So
Love it.
go to my website and download this free guide. It literally takes all that I've learned in plus 10 years and put it into one document that you could literally print out and take with you, that day that you go for your checkup and say, hey, doc, here's what I want you to check.
What is your website? And we'll put in the show notes though, too, for everybody, just so you can say it so people can remember.
Thank you. So it's denaholmes.com/guide. So it's DenaHolmes.com/guide. And then for those people who want to work with me on a bit of a deeper level, maybe to have a quick conversation, even, if it's a short chat, they can go to my website, DenaHolmes.com, and they can click an option to take a brief health assessment, and it will take them to my calendar link to fill out that assessment and schedule time to chat with me personally.
Dena, I know so many of our listeners are going to do that right away because you speak so much wisdom and brilliance. And I have to ask you this last question though. Okay. You said, I want to know we're here for Beyond Common Business Secrets. So tell me what your number one business secret is.
Okay. So it's what I had to learn the hard way. There is an unbreakable link between wellness and prosperity. Now, notice I didn't say wealth. So wealth is associated with a certain amount of money or possessions or assets, but prosperity encompasses everything that is important to you. Financial prosperity, your relationships, how you feel physically, your mental health, that is prosperity. And, it was Ralph Waldo Emerson who said it best. He said, your first wealth is health. So the more that you focus on your wellness, the greater your ability then to show up at a higher level. You're going to achieve your goals faster, and you don't have to burn yourself out in the process. So the better you feel, the better you do.
Oh, sister, I love that. Right? It's like, it seems counterintuitive because of how we were raised, right? Well, most of us, that is a general, but you and I are close to the same age. So I'm making that assumption that, until you learn later in life that no, you're allowed to love yourself. No, you're allowed to seek joy. You should be taking care of yourself. That's how you actually take care of others.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the opposite of what I thought. I'm like, oh, I'm being greedy. I should be starving and dying.
Yeah.
And taking care of everyone around me before, so it's like that shift of putting your oxygen mask on first before you take care of your baby. Because if you do your baby first and you die, you still don't, nobody wins here.
Yeah, exactly.
So I love the way that you said that so eloquently, because I think there's still a lot of women that have not given themselves permission yet. So hopefully they'll hear our conversation and download your guide and really get the help that they really need. So thank you so much for being here. You are such a wealth of knowledge, and I cannot wait to go check out your guide. So thank you so much. And I want to say to everybody else, no matter where you are in your business journey, taking care of your health is always going to be first and foremost. So do not put that on the back burner. Go get Dena's guide today to help you, and keep living your Beyond Common life. And we'll see you on the next one. Take care.